Hello everyone, I'm your hostess with the mostest 8-second gaming, and in today's video we are going to be talking about the best legends for every role to climb within solo queue. Solo queuing can be pretty difficult because sometimes you can't trust your teammates, so you need a legend that does kind of reflect that. So don't worry, today I've got you back and we're going to break it down. But if you guys are here, it's clear you're looking to take your Apex skill to the next level, so you need to go and check out the GameLeap website right now. Over there, our top-level coaches are creating the best, most highly informative guides to make you a beast of a player. We have legend guides, gun guides, VOD reviews, and much more. No matter what you struggle with or your goal is, we have solutions for you, so click the link in the description, pick yourself up a membership, and start to improve today. But okay, jumping straight into things, we are going to be going over one for every role, and we're also going to be doing an honorable mention at the end. So let's kick things off with the entry fragger. Now, the entry fraggers are the first ones into the fight. They need to be drawing attention and doing a decent amount of initial damage so that their team can then push up to them without being hassled too much. So you need a legend that can easily get in and out of fights in those situations, and also a legend that can play pretty selfishly. And for solo queue, your best option is going to be Wraith. Now, Wraith has always been a very solid staple pick in the entry fragger role, and there's a very good reason for that. She does it perfectly. Now, I know that there has been a little bit of debate. Does she have a passive? Does she not? But her passive really doesn't matter here. The big ticket item is her phase. If you push up into a fight, you get a lot of initial damage out, but your teammates aren't really on the same page as you and they're not pushing up either. All you have to do is pop that phase, run back to them. You're perfectly safe. You can reset the fight. You can go a different direction. It doesn't matter. She is extremely good at playing split from her team as well. So if your team wants to be a little bit more passive, you can go and take aggressive off angles in fights. You can go be a little bit more aggressive with the portal because you have that safety net to fall back to. There's a lot of different options and different ways that Wraith allows you to play, and that is why she is the perfect entry fragger for solo queuing. Now, there can be an argument for Bangalore in the entry fragger position as well, but Bangalore doesn't have that get out of jail free card that Wraith does. She can smoke, she can play around with that, but it's not as good of a safety blanket as the phase is. When you're in the phase, you're immortal, you can get back to your team, it's just a much better option. And again, some people are probably gonna be saying it takes a really long time for the phase to go off, but that's just because you're getting caught out in the middle of the open. Wraith should still try to play around cover in order to then dip behind that to pop her phase and then run away. Just because you have that phase doesn't mean you should be standing out in the middle of an open field. If you do that, yes, you're probably going to die, but if you're playing around cover, then you can just crouch behind it, pop the phase, you're fine. So just try to do that a little bit more and you'll be good. But that is our entry fragger position covered, so now let's move into the secondary fragger role, and for this, we've got to talk about Loba. Now, there are quite a few different legends that do fit into the secondary fragger role and are fantastic pickups if you are solo queuing. Pathfinder's fantastic, Bloodhound's a really good pick, characters like that. But the reason that I'm going for Loba is because she does easily morph into a lot of different play styles. It doesn't matter if your team wants to play edge or zone, she can just do that easily because she just works in every single different situation. One major thing that happens when you're solo queuing is sometimes you're not going to have the same game plan as your teammates and you can kind of clash a little bit. Maybe you pick a legend that's more zone focused, but they really want to play edge, so you're lacking a little bit in that area. That's when your team chemistry falls apart, you lose a fight, you lose LP, you lose will to solo queue, it's a whole thing. But with Loba, you actually are able to do everything, so you're not actually losing that team chemistry, so no matter what they want to do, you are solid. And as a secondary fragger, she is actually pretty self-sufficient, so you're not relying on your team. She has her bracelet to get in and out of fights, she has her black market to get herself loot, she's an independent woman. And in fights, if you want to take off angles, you definitely can do it on her because if you need to, you can just bracelet back to your team. It gives people a lot of freedom and mobility and a lot of different options on how to play, so she is a fantastic pick in the secondary fragger role. But now we can move into support, the big boys in the back, and there's only one real option here, and that is going to be Newcastle. Now, supports usually fall under the same issue. They usually don't have the best movement, so if they get singled out, they're probably going to die. And in solo queue, you can't really trust your teammates are actually going to be there for you. You can never really trust that they're actually going to help you when they need to help you. So that is why Newcastle is such a fantastic option here, because he doesn't actually need his team to be playing around him. They can do what they want to do because it's solo queue, they're going to do it anyway. You can never really have them play around you. But if you start to get singled out, the enemy team's pushing you, you don't know what to do, you have your ultimate. You can pop that, jump to one of your teammates, slam that down, create some cover, and now you are right with your team, and then the enemy team is probably out of position. I am typically a support player when I do play the game. I like the playstyle a little bit more, and I have solo queued to masters a couple times. And I can't tell you how many times I've opted to go with Newcastle because he's such a strong support legend, but he can also fit into that solo queue role perfectly. He does take a little bit of time to get used to because his playstyle is not like any other support, but once you really pick up how good his kit actually is, you can start to dominate fights and really give your team an edge in a lot of different situations. And one of my favorite parts about his kit is his ultimate in endgame situations. Because if it's in a more of an open area while everybody else is panicking, you just slam down your ultimate and now you and your team have a place to play. Or if you're playing edge for most of the game and you run into the zone and there's not really a whole lot of places to play, you can slam down your ultimate, give your team a breath of fresh air for a few minutes while you figure something out. If people want to spray down the walls, that's fine because then they're just wasting a ton of ammo. Newcastle's in such a fantastic spot. He has been for a while and he's probably going to continue to be in a good spot. So if you like to play support, pick him up. Now I did mention at the start that we were going to be giving an honorable mention, and so we're going to put that right here. And the honorable mention is going to go to Revenant Reborn. Now with the rework, Revenant fits into the secondary fragger role a lot better. Before, he was kind of a weird pickup in that spot. He didn't really have the ability to be a secondary fragger, but that's the only spot that he really did fit into. But now he really does fit into that role, and he does it pretty well. His entire kit is based off of selfish play. Yes, he does highlight if he's the one that gets them below 40 HP, but other than that, his entire thing is based around playing by himself, creating a lot of opportunities to push and then pushing off of it. And that's what a lot of solo queue players like to do. That's why Octane is a pretty popular pickup in solo queue, because people like to play around themselves, and that is it. But I get that Octane is not everybody's thing, and I think Revenant is actually going to be a very solid solo queue pickup. It is a little early to tell if that's why he's an honorable mention and he's not the one that actually gets mentioned on the list. But I do think once the season progresses a little bit more, people really start to understand his kit a little bit more. A lot more people will see that he's actually going to be such a solid solo queue legend. And that 75 HP shield that refreshes on Nox, oh my lord, that has saved me so many times this season already. You can be that one-man army, you can be highly aggressive, but you don't require your team, because if something goes wrong, you just have that Shadow Pounce to get out of there. And when you're in your ultimate on knockdowns, the Shadow Pounce does refresh, so you can have a shocking amount of mobility, catching people off guard easily. Trust me, when you're knocking people, jumping to a new location, knocking another person, jumping to a new location, you are going to be able to catch teams off guard so easily. And taking those aggressive off angles with the amount of mobility that you can have can be super oppressive in a lot of different fights. Revenant might actually slide into a really sneaky, low-key, best secondary fragger for solo queue. But let me know, what's your favorite solo queue legend? Drop it in the comments down below. And if you guys want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest Apex Legends, tips, tricks, and news, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. Thanks so for watching. Once again, it's taking aim, and I'll see you guys in the next one.